Can we just start by you telling me a little bit about cross Catholic outreach and what called you originally to get involved?
So I found Cross Catholic Outreach at a conference. We met at a conference, and I had been looking for a Catholic charity that I could help lend my brand and following that I had built to for a while. So it kind of been on my heart to try to align with a Catholic charity, but I wanted to be very selective and find something that could appeal to my fan base because there's millions of people who follow me, and a lot of them have very diverse backgrounds and not necessarily the same faith. So I wanted to work with a charity whose mission is just universal and broadly appealing and authentically Catholic. And that was Cross Catholic, and especially in their works with where they do especially in their initiatives where they implement the corporal works of mercy. They're really effective in what they're doing in their ministry all over the world. So it kind of was a hand in glove combination from day one. And I love the leadership team there. There's some really wonderful people with great hearts that are helping further the mission. And one of the initiatives that I really fell in love with was the Box of Joy initiative, which is where they bring Christmas presents to kids in impoverished countries, third world countries. And for some kids, this is their first Christmas present they've ever received. So it's been a true honor and a joy to get to help expand that cause, bring awareness to that cause, and go on those trips myself to those third world countries.
How many years have you been working with cross Catholic outreach now?
So this is my second year with them. We started last year, and we're able to bring 3,800 kids Christmas gifts. And this year we are doing it again. Last year we went to the Dominican Republic. This year we went to Guatemala, in a place called Cuilapa, Guatemala, and it was magical.
Yeah, so that leads me to my next question. Can you tell me more about your trip to Guatemala with your wife and what was that like, getting to see these kids receive, like you said, some of them their first Christmas present?
Absolutely, this trip was really special for both of us. To get to bring my wife on this trip was like really amazing because she has such a big heart. She has a heart of gold. She loves children. And to see the way that she looked at kids that are our kids' age and how loving and maternal she was with everyone was really special. Um, it was incredibly humbling for her. She hadn't done a trip like this before. She had done some mission work actually in the United States in some really impoverished communities, which she'd never done one in a third world country like this. So it really was a perspective check for her, which she really appreciated. Um, and a lot of lessons that she took back that she's helping implement in our own home: simplicity, humility. She was really impressed, and I was too, with how much these people do with so little, and also with how strong family values are in their community and how beautiful that is. Like when we would give a kid a gift, the first thing a lot of these kids would do is they would find their sibling and give it to them. It's almost like they didn't even think of themselves, or if they got a piece of candy or something, they would turn to their sibling and give it to their sibling, or they would come right back to me and go, "Do you want to split this?" That that culture is just very beautiful and giving and charitable, and you see it all over the place there. Like I don't know, little things like that show, I think, the character of the community, and that was very touching. The bishop there is a heart of gold too. He's such a good man. He's really doing a lot of good work in the community. Um, yeah, it was a very special trip. Uh, and like to see the a lot of these people don't really have homes. They have like posts up and then like a tin roof, and that's it. Like the rain comes in at night. We met one family that a mom with like five or six kids, I have to remember, but five or six kids, where whenever it would rain, they would just pull a big plastic blanket up over their bed and they would sleep. That was their covering from the rain. And it rains a lot. And they were recently just given a home. And when I say a home, Cross Catholic will build them. Basically, it's like $8,000, right? not even the price of a car most people spend in the US. And for $8,000, you basically get like a, I don't know, 250 square foot, 2 bedroom, just concrete blocks. You have a cement foundation, cinder blocks, and then a tin roof, right? But you're not on dirt and there's water not getting in and it's sealed. And this family that I met who was sleeping under the plastic blanket, they took us in their home that they were just built, and the joy in these people's faces, they were so grateful, and so they felt wealthy. Like it was such a reality check for me and for my wife, um, to see that they do so much with so little.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of Americans root their happiness in achievements or success or tangible items, and it's like that's not where happiness really is. This is the happiest family on earth, and they're happy that they just have a floor that rain doesn't get in. And I'm like, yeah, it was a perspective check for sure.
Gosh, no, I can imagine. Kevin mentioned to me while we were chatting that your wife also always felt like since from a young age called to do a mission trip to Guatemala. Can you tell me a little bit more about that and her perspective?
Yeah, I should go grab her. The kids are just waking up though, and she's got breakfast going, so that would
Oh,
be
no, it's
that.
okay.
Um, uh, yeah, she had heard I'm trying to remember exactly. She had heard about Guatemala from church when she was a little girl, from folks that had gone there and done a mission trip, and it was just one of those stories that she heard when she was young that like stuck in her head, and she was like, one day I'm gonna go to Guatemala, and the stars just lined up on this trip. So this is her answering like a lifelong thought she had and memory she had from when she was a little girl. So this was a very meaningful trip for her. She really soaked in every second of it. I was really, really proud of her.
That's so nice. How did this trip impact you personally, like your faith, just yeah, you.
Yeah. I mean, I've touched on a bit of what it meant. The the fact that these people do so much with so little. And if you were to have, me and anyone in my neighborhood or anyone in America live in the homes that these people are living in and say, "Hey, happiness is still possible here." That would seem like a really tough concept for I think most Americans to grasp. And it really made me think like, where is happiness really rooted? Because I saw it in these people and I saw it in what they had. Where is happiness rooted? And it's not rooted in material things. It is rooted in ultimately your relationship with God and your character, your virtue, where you're at in life. It really isn't dependent upon your external circumstances. It's entirely dependent on your internal circumstances. So that was just a thought for meditation for me that you know look, we're a very blessed country that the common person here has air conditioning in a home and running toilets and stuff. Um, but that's not where your happiness resides.
Going back a little bit to the kids, I know you said, they would automatically think of like their sibling giving them their gift, but is there maybe one interaction that you had that really stood out to you with a child and when they received their box of joy?
Um, there was a girl. This wasn't her first time she got her box of joy, but when you give a box of joy, a little context first. When you give a box of joy, uh, you either pack it yourself or you donate it. So you can go pack a box of joy. You can include a little letter if you want to whoever it's going to, but you don't necessarily get to meet the person who it's given to. But I got to experience firsthand someone receiving that box, right? So when we went there and we gave a box, the little girl was so excited, and she ran into the other room and she grabbed some letters from other boxes of joy she had been given in prior years. And she brought them to me, and she kept every single thing that was given to her and the letters that were written to her from the people who gave them. And she like holds them near and dear to her heart. I want to say this girl was maybe 11. And she was so proud to show me how grateful she was and how much this meant to her. And so she grabbed these letters and brought them, and she was like, "Look!" And she how she prays for these people who gave her these boxes. Um, I just thought that was really special. That we might not always see where our giving goes, but to this girl, these are thoughts and people that are on her mind a lot, and it's uplifting for her to know that there are people out there who care about her and who recognize their struggles and who are trying to help. Um, so for someone that might just be a 20-minute packing event that they went to and wrote a little letter and they forgot all about it, it's like that letter might be living with someone for many years to come.
Yeah. Why should we as Catholics get involved in charities like this one, or and just like charities in general of giving back?
Um, well, if you take the Bible seriously, then there's a lot of mention of helping the poor in the Bible, and there isn't the type of poverty in America that there is in third world countries. And you you really don't experience poverty on your in a day-to-day basis in America. You really don't. Everyone has air conditioning, everyone has toilets, everyone's roofs don't let water in. When you sleep at night, you don't have to sleep with a plastic blanket over your head to keep the rain away. Um, so these are real things and real issues and real people and real poverty happening in other places in the world. And I think one of the beautiful things about the Catholic faith is it is the most charitable organization on the planet, and always has been since its inception. So why is that? I think fundamentally it's because Catholics recognize human dignity as something sacred, and they see the human person as something infinitely valuable, not just not just cattle, not just a herd of soulless animals. Um, because if you don't believe that the person has a soul, then intrinsically you won't care as much for that person because they're just another animal. You
Mhm.
might not be thinking that consciously. I doubt you would, but subconsciously, that belief gives you an outlook on life. And you've seen this across different cultures that don't share that belief. They treat poor people like curses to society or uh, wastes. And Catholics have never thought that. That's the reason Catholics have been on the forefront of inventing things like the university, the hospital, all sorts of different institutions, because we believe fundamentally that human beings have a soul and that is an infinitely beautiful and sacred thing. So if there is someone with a soul on a long lost island somewhere that needs help, Catholics are going to go figure out how to help that person. That's why we were the only ones to want to take care of lepers and other people with extreme maladies. Um, so yeah, I hope that kind of answers the question, but it's important to our belief to want to help the vulnerable and also the unicity of the church, right? One holy Catholic apostolic unicity. We are all one, so all of the members of the church need to be healthy, and we need to help those who aren't to help the body function in a more uh, powerful way and healthy way.
No, absolutely. You said it perfectly. Was this your first time going to a third world country? Like, was this your first experience with that, or had you been before?
I'd been multiple times before. This was my first time in Guatemala. This was my first time meeting the Guatemalan people.
Mhm.
Um, but I'd been a bunch before.
Oh. Advent this season, just kind of wanted to throw that out there too. How do you and your family celebrate Advent and this season of giving, especially tied in with, boxes of joy?
Absolutely. So we have multiple traditions in my family for Advent that we love to do. This year I built a manger, and it definitely wasn't a pretty manger, but you know what? I back in the day when Saint Joseph and the crew were putting it together, I could imagine that they used what they had to make it. His was probably much better than mine because he was a carpenter after all. But I made a manger, and we do this little game called the Virtue Straws, where if the kids um, do an act of virtue, they're given a straw. And hopefully by the end of Advent, they'll have given Jesus enough of a cushion when he finally makes his appearance on his birthday. That's a tradition the kids love and look forward to. The Feast of St. Lucia, that's when we put up the Christmas lights. That's when lights enter the home. That's when we decorate the tree. Uh, and and we do talk a lot. The kids know what I do with Box of Joy, so we do talk a lot about the poor. We give, um, and they Box of Joy has been such a wonderful way to expose my children to the concept of poverty. They had no clue. Like kids don't have food, or they go to bed hungry, or they don't have toys. Like this has been such a wonderful way to show them what it means to not have something. And last year we actually went to the toy store and packed things, and we're doing that again this year before Christmas. You to see my children like pack a box for someone else, all the questions they ask to understand why they're doing that is like the best teaching tool ever. And it's stuck with them, like literally to this day they always ask about the poor
That's so nice. I mean,
and pray for it. Like during our rosary they'll go, we have to pray for the poor. Like that's, yeah, it's awesome, all because of Box of Joy.
that is so sweet. Thank you so much, David, for chatting with me.
Of course, God bless you, have a great rest of your Advent.